What's up, my Texas Studies dudes? This is Coachsaenz welcoming you back to another one of our video lessons. The video lesson today we're covering chapter 5.3, The French Explore Texas. We're actually going to begin today's lesson with exploring the reasons why and the motivations the French explored the New World. Now, a motivation is usually the reason or the reasons for what something or someone does or behaves a particular way. Now, some of you have the desire to go to college, right? So what do you have to do? You have to motivate yourself to do good in school, right? Some of you guys want to do good in sports, so you got to motivate yourself to do good when the workout is or when you're in practice to be able to do good in the game. Now the question is, what motivated France to explore the New World just like Spain did at the time? Now, if you can see on this map, you can see that Spain's right down here and France is right here, right? They're very close to each other, neighbors, right? So you can only imagine, do you guys hear things that your neighbors are doing or watching? Yeah, you do. You see your neighbors all the time. Sometimes you don't see them, sometimes you do. But you always hear about what's going on. That's exactly what happened with Spain and France. France heard about what Spain was doing, heard about the commission that they had given, that Spain had given Christopher Columbus, and him discovering the New World. Now, if you also remember, the things that motivated the people of Spain when they heard of the New World, and in Texas in particular, was the 7 cities of Cibola, right? The 7 cities of gold, as one would say. Now, another thing was that the Spanish were motivated by what 3 things, guys? Let's see if we can come up with them. They were the what? They were the 3 G's, right? The 3 G's. And what were they? That's right. They were gold, glory, and God. So France is over here sitting on the sidelines watching as Spain is doing all these explorations, all these findings, all these new things, and France is saying, "Hey, we want a piece of that pie. We want to get in on that action. What's going on?" So the French wanted to compete with Spain in their quest for the trade in the New World. Now, France also wanted those things, right? They wanted to compete with the Spanish. Now, they also wanted the 3 G's, right? But they were mainly focused, once they heard the stories of the 7 cities of Cibola, they wanted the gold. That's exactly what they wanted. Now, when having the gold, what comes with it? That's right. Hey, it's glory. They wanted the fame. They wanted the glory as well. So they wanted the gold, they wanted the glory, they wanted to be famous. Now we see France and Spain competing against each other for the 3 G's of the New World. Now, one of the very first French explorers, or another motivation why they did it, was one of the French explorers. Now this gentleman right here, as you can see in this picture. Now I know what you're thinking, right? Dude's got a wig on, looks like a lady. But back then, that's what they wore, guys, right? His name was Sieur de la Salle. Now, convinced the king of France that French friars, now not fries, guys, not fries, French friars, kind of like Nacho Libre, remember? Nacho! Now, they thought that they could convince or convert the natives of the New World to Catholicism. Now, the king that commissioned the trip for Mr. Sieur de la Salle, as you see him there, to go over there and actually start converting the natives, as we can see here, was actually King Louis, as I'll write it here, Louis the 14th, X-I-V, King Louis the 14th. So just like Christopher Columbus, King Louis gave commission to Sieur de la Salle to go to the New World, and did that. Now, in response, he needed to be able to convert the natives, right? That's exactly why they gave him commission or permission to go, because they felt that they were going to do this scene right here, which was converting the natives to Catholicism, right? And this sets up the 3rd G of the New World, right? Going into the New World, and that was what, guys? That's right. It's God, as we can see in this picture right here, trying to convert people to Catholicism in the New World. Now, La Salle wanted to establish a French colony. Now, we can remember what a colony was the baby of the mother country, right? So, he wanted to set up a colony or a baby for France. Right? Now, he wanted to set up a colony for his king at the mouth of the Mississippi River to control trade in North America. Now, here we see the mouth of the Mississippi River here, and he wanted to come all the way up, going all the way up here. Now, he wanted to establish a colony right there, down there at the mouth of the Mississippi River. Now, he had come to the New World. He had already come once in the year 1682, right? And he mapped all this area out. He was able to map it out and map out the Mississippi River. And he felt that if France took control of the, if they took control of the river, they would be able to take control of trade in North America, right? So that's exactly what he proposed to the king, and the king liked it, liked that motivation, said, let's do it, let's roll with it, right? Now, when here, he renamed it, he named it under the King Louis. That's where we get our state name today of Louisiana. Right there. That's where we get it, Louisiana, because he named it after King Louis.
Now, La Salle set sail in the year 1684 from France. Now, he set sail from France with 4 different ships, right? As we can see here, he had been to the Mississippi River before, but he actually missed it this time. On his trip over here, he missed it by more than 400 miles and ended up in what we called Matagorda Bay. And you know what, guys? I'm not even going to get into translating it at all. But that's where he landed. Now, if you remember correctly, he left France in 1684 and landed here in the year 1685. Now, guys, remember that if I write down any information on the screen or anything, please make sure you write it down on the side in your journal, or in your binder. Make sure you put it there on the side, because it's information that will probably be brought up later on. Now, once La Salle had landed inland, he built what they called Fort St. Louis, right? Here we see a picture of what Fort St. Louis actually looked back then, right? Now, at first, they landed in Karankawa land, right? They were friendly to them, and they actually took them in for a while. After some time, the French had accused the Karankawas of actually taking some tools and stealing, and this ended up leading to bickering and arguing and eventually fighting, and eventually the Karankawa would attack. On top of this, drought came along the way here. And what does that mean, guys? When there's a drought, that's right, that means there's no rain at all. No rain. Now, with the lack of rain, you can't grow crops. You can't farm good, because if you don't water the plants, obviously they don't grow. You don't water the crop, it doesn't grow. So because of the lack of rain, they weren't able to be successful because of the drought. Now, along with that came disease. Many of the colonists started to die because of the disease that they were getting, and inheriting. And this was another reason why Fort St. Louis started to decline. Now, by the year 1686, only 45 Frenchmen were left at Fort St. Louis because of disease and other things like that. They weren't able to survive. It was real hard. Or they had been killed by a Karankawa attack. So their success of survival wasn't very good. It's either you're going to die from sickness or you're going to get killed by an Indian attack. Now, let me erase this real quick here. Now, in the year 1687, as you can see here, La Salle decided, you know what? it was time to go ahead and pack it up. We've done enough here. We weren't successful. Let's go ahead and pack up and head back to France. Now, out of the remaining survivors, he took about 20 with him. And on that faithful road trip, or I should say boat trip, his men killed him. And he died by his own men in 1687. You're probably thinking, now, why on earth would they kill him? Well, think about it like this. The people that went with him left the New World to go for the 3 G's, right? Sorry, let me erase that there. The 3 G's, right? Gold, glory, and God. But, I mean, they left to study home, they left their family, they left everything back in France to come to the New World to get the 3 G's and to be successful and to take something back towards their families. But what did La Salle end up doing? He led them to a horrific expedition here, and actually led them to the what, guys? What do you think they would be called? The 3 D's. And that would be disease, death, and drought. That's why they got sick and tired of it. They figured out that, hey, you know what? We're not going to get the 3 G's. We're not going to get any money. And that's all because of this bum La Salle. So you know what? We got to take him out. And that's what they did. They killed him on the ship way back to France. And they just threw him overboard. You're probably thinking, if La Salle and the French were not able to be successful in establishing a colony in Texas, then why are they important to Texas studies? Well, the reason why they're important to Texas studies is because what they did with this trip and how they were unsuccessful, it set fear in the Spanish. Fear, that's right. A fear that they would lose out America to the French and Texas in its lands. Now, when the Spanish caught wind of this, although they were fearful, this set up a deep feeling for competition for Texas, right? Now, out of fear for not losing Texas and the Gulf Coast, the Spanish renewed their era of exploration and got their explorers going again, got their conquistadores going again, so they wouldn't lose out on this land to France. So they started sending out people and conquistadores over here. Now, since Spain's main competition, France, completely failed, like horribly, the colonization of Texas, Spain now had taken total control of Texas. Now this completes our chapter 5.3, French Explorers of Texas. This is Coach Saenz, signing out.